wanted to talk today a little bit about drinking guidelines. So a lot of the population that I work with are what I would call gray area drinkers. So a quote unquote normal drinker and or could be problematic or heavy drinker. And it really captures that category between folks who don't drink at all or drink very little and folks who maybe have a moderate or severe substance use disorder. So typically what I'm hearing is that during COVID, it felt like one long snow day and everyone was just at home, drinking at strange times, working from home. What's 5 o'clock's not a thing anymore, and so I don't have to wait, that sort of thing. And that a lot of people really were able to get that back on track afterwards and return to normal routines, and that a lot of folks did continue to drink just more than they prefer, not even necessarily in a really problematic way, but just that what they wish their drinking looked like and what their drinking actually looked like were different. So I want to present to you a couple of updated guidelines, and the reason that I want to do this is because we as a society tend to overestimate the amount that people around us drink, and we tend to underestimate or underreport the amount that we are truly drinking. So that would be the difference between what I tell a doctor when they ask me how much alcohol I consume, and if I were to actually log it over the course of 7 days, multiple weeks in a row, that those numbers would not necessarily match, and that what I would be reporting or what I think I drink is less than how much I actually drink. So that's really important because it informs how we think about our drinking and our comparison to others. So as I mentioned, we are fairly unreliable in our ability to estimate how much people around us drink, in the same way that we're really unreliable eyewitnesses as humans. There's been a couple of studies done where they interviewed folks on a college campus asking about how much they thought their peers were drinking, and pretty unanimously, folks were wrong. That we tend to really overestimate how much people drink around us. So these are the updated guidelines just to give you a little bit of an idea or a benchmark to put your alcohol use up against and try to make some decisions from a health perspective about what might or might not be healthy for you. This is not so much in an addiction or a substance use disorder lens. This is much more from a health guideline lens. So these updated guidelines are from a mixture of different entities. So one being DHHS, USDA, the NIAAA, and SAMHSA, and that they're all going to speak on what the guidelines would be for healthy amounts or heavy amounts of drinking. So there's two different ways that they categorize how we drink. One would be the amount, and that would be about binge drinking, so the amount of alcohol that's bioavailable in our system at any given time. This is where we get our blood alcohol concentration, or that BAC 0.08 number from on breathalyzers. And the other way would be frequency and amount combined, and that number is much more about moderation, so we'll talk about both. So they are defining and updating the guidelines to be, for women, drinking in moderation would look like drinking 1 drink or less per day, and that comes out to a total of 7 or less per week. For men, drinking in moderation would be 2 drinks per day or less, or 14 for the week in total. Binge drinking is when we've got higher alcohol content than that 0.08 in our system, putting us at a higher intoxication level on any given event. So this would be much more about on any given day how much I drink. Binge drinking is defined as, for women, 4 or more drinks on any given occasion. That typically is going to correspond with the number being higher than 0.08 in our system. Binge drinking for men would be considered 5 or more drinks on any one given occasion, and that you only have to meet this criteria once on any given month for you to be considered a binge drinker or someone who engages in binge drinking. And heavy use is another way that they define this, or another category to look at to compare your drinking against. And this would be an and or. So this is for women, 3 or more drinks on any given day. So that would be kind of more in your binge realm, or more than 7 in a week. So I would be considered to be a heavy drinker if I either had more than 7 drinks in a week, or on any given day in the past week, I had more than 3 on one occasion. So this is really important to consider, because what it means is I can't just go by one number. I can't say, well, I never have more than 3, or I never have more than 7. I have to look at both numbers. I can't say I don't drink all week, but I have 4 during a football game on Saturday, so I'm in a healthy range. That would actually still put you in a heavy use range because of the combination of numbers that we're looking at. And heavy use for a male would be 4 or more on any given day, or more than 14 in a week. So again, these numbers are not necessarily to shed light on substance use disorder, addiction, anything like that. Those are going to be looking more at behavioral symptoms, consequences, what's happening as a result of your drinking. These numbers are purely about health guidelines. So when I move from moderation into heavy or binge use, either one, I'm moving my overall physical health risk from safe-ish to into a health risk category, and that's for all different health disorders, and addiction is one of them. But as far as others go, we're also talking about things like cancer, heart disease, any type of organ involvement disorder, because that's what alcohol touches. So these numbers are really just to provide you with a guideline of where is my drinking, so that I can compare it to actual updated health guidelines rather than to the people around me, or to maybe what I've been looking at, which could be consequences, or is it hurting anybody, or do I think it's too high? From a health perspective, these are the numbers that tell you if it's too high or if it's in a healthy or moderation zone.